Hi guys, Bran here, and today we're going to be doing an analysis. We're going to be doing an analysis on just how easy it is for survivors to win a game of Dead by Daylight, despite the killers not really making any tremendous mistakes. For some reason, it's come around that some people are now starting to think this game is killer-sided for some reason. Why that is, I'm not quite sure, because I thought it was like pretty agreed upon, for better or worse, that the game was survivor-sided, you know, that this is all just kind of a thing that we accepted. However, people are starting to say like the game is killer-sided now, and I cannot get behind that. So we're going to be doing a top-down visualization on how survivors, even with like the most basic of coordination, can win a match pretty easily despite the killer not making any incredible mistakes. So yeah, before we get started, do make sure that if you like my content, actually like it down here in the like zone with the thumbs up and stuff. Also, if you want to hang out more than here, more than on the YouTube zone, there's Twitch right here. Once that pink thing goes away, I don't know how long it takes. And then there's the Discord thing right there, and I don't know how long that takes either, but I'll time it in the editing. Editing Brand will solve that, because we'll just put everything off on Editing Brand. I'm sure he loves me. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the vidya. Okay. Right now, we are looking at a top-down view that I have created of the Groaning Storehouse map, so the Macmillan map. This is a map that I have already drawn out for another video with a lot of wonderful bells and whistles going on that we already need to do the analysis for this video. So obviously the gens will be the gens, but the other things that you may not know was like we have the hooks, which are the hooks. You have the logs that are usually on this map. The things that are kind of harder to notice, though, are the walls, windows, and breakable pallets, are the pallets and breakable walls. Anything in black is a wall. Anything in red is a vault or a window. And everything in yellow is a pallet or breakable wall. So that's what each of those colors mean. So hopefully, with that in mind, it is easier to visualize this from a top-down perspective, so we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so our survivors are going to be the first four, which is Dwight, Meg, Claudette, and Jake. For the purposes of this video, even with our boy Trapper, who will be our killer today, we're not going to be taking into account their perks, their powers, or anything to that extent. This is just, you know, base game. Everybody's just base. Trapper's not even going to be putting down his traps just for the sake of the argument. This is just the most basic possible game of Dead by Daylight, okay? Just to keep things simple, so there's not a lot of variables that make this really confusing. So, yeah. So let's set the field of the game. Dwight is going to spawn down here. And Meg's going to spawn with him. Claudette's going to spawn on Shaq. And then we're going to have Jake spawn in this little cubby hole. And the killer always spawns typically really far away from the stars unless something has gone wrong, which does happen occasionally, but it doesn't happen too much. And, you know, we have that old adage, by the way, that I pointed out in a different video. This is good killer information for you right now if you don't know. Typically, survivors spawn away from you in sort of an upside down triangle formation. So if I spawn here and I'm facing the storehouse, you look, there's an upside down triangle that kind of connects the spawn points. It's not always this way, but typically they can spawn anywhere from the corners of the triangle to inside the triangle itself. So that's kind of like a general rule for killer. Just a little killer tip right there if you're looking for survivors early in the game, that's a good way to find them. Okay, so the stage is set. You have spawned as Trapper, and the survivors are moving. Dwight and Meg are going to hop on this gen. Before we get started with this, now that we're talking about the gens, everybody's going to hop on a gen. Everybody's going to get to a gen pretty easily, right? Gens take 80 seconds to complete solo. Solo without any toolboxes, without any add-ons or perks. They take 80 seconds. However, each person that hops on a gen knocks it down roughly like 15-20-ish%. I know that two people for sure take 47 seconds. So almost half, a little bit above, but almost half. It almost knocks down half of a gen. So they are hopping on there. They're doing this super efficiently. So you're following the you say a crow, like a crow fly up near this tile back here in the cubby hole. So you're gonna walk over here. And this is going to take you like 10, 15-ish seconds to even get over here to start pressuring Jake. So they are already pretty close. They're getting through this gen. They're a good deal through this gen. Claudette's, you know, hers hasn't really, you know, started too much. But theirs is a good way through already because they're double teaming the gen. So he comes through. Jake's like, he leaves, run around. He drops the pallet. He's forced to break it. he comes out here, gets a hit on Jake. Jake runs, decides to stick to the L-wall, T-wall, fakes correctly. They're having a nice little chase over here. Finally downs Jake, and then plops Jake on this hook over here. So, say that chase took like 15, 20-ish seconds. So he hooks this, he looks around, he sees nobody on barbecue if he had barbecue, but we're not taking a kind of perk, so I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to not even mention that. So he's going to look around. He's going to try to figure out who to go for next. He hears a gen being worked on and Shaq nearby, so he's probably going to go pressure it. And then suddenly, ding, gen done. Because remember, this was taking almost half the time, so this is already done. So one gen has already flown, despite the fact that he didn't really make any bad mistakes here. So Trapper's going to come in here, push Claudette off. Claudette's gen was only about half finished. Dwight's going to run off of this gen, come up, sneak up onto this gen, and get started. Meg's going to take the long way around while they're chasing at Shaq and come around and save Jake. Gets Jake off hook. Starts healing Jake. About 10-15 seconds have passed. So Dwight is working on this gen. He has a new gen started. So they heal up, and they're going to get onto this gen, which, you know, he had already started. He hits Claudette, and Claudette goes out through here because this is a very, very strong structure in here. So his gen was already like 15-20 seconds done, so they're going to hop on that and get that done in nearly half the time. So she's using her speed burst to go through here. They chase. She makes the vault, follows her. She's up here. He comes around, and they start looping at this L-wall, T-wall. And then because they're double teaming the gen, ding, another gen pops. Uh-oh. 2 gens are done, and there's only one person that's been hooked. Uh-oh. So he finally downs Claudette. He's going to be a smart killer and put her on the nearest hook, so she's going to be right here. He's going to plop her on this hook right here. Done. Dwight's gen is about halfway done. Meg is going to kind of sneak around, try to come for the save. Jake saw that Claudette was on a gen earlier, so he's going to come in here and hop on this gen. That was about halfway, if you remember. So he's going to come through here, and he spots Dwight over here on this gen. So he's going to spots Dwight over here on this gen. So he's going to go try to pressure Dwight because Dwight's gen is almost done. She gets the unhook, you know, starts healing, saving. They chase. He'll probably use this long wall. So they'll chase. They have time to heal up. Trapper gets the hit, forces him this way. He's going to go to this jungle gym. And then, once again, despite not having any huge errors, ding, another gen goes, because this gen was already halfway done. So, one person solo unabashed on it will get it done. Meg saw Dwight go to this gen earlier, so she's going to wave over Claudette, and they're going to come hop on this gen that was about halfway done before he got chased off by Trapper. Trapper chases him, downs him here, decides he's going to hook him right here. He knows that Dwight's gen is probably getting close to done, so he's going to come back down this way, and he gets close, but once again, ding, 4 gens done. 4 gens done. And he hasn't really made a lot of errors. It's just been the survivors grouping up on gens really well. That's just been it. Like, he hasn't been really making any horrendous mistakes, but just because of survivors being efficient and knowing when to double up and when to split up, that's it. Jake goes for the save, pulls down Dwight, they start healing. He starts chasing Claudette because Claudette's the only person he's hooked so far, so he wants somebody dead soon. Meg runs away and hops onto the center gen. She leads him, she does the smart thing and leads him all the way down through here, down to this hole where there's not really a whole lot for him to defend. They heal up and they come in here. They hear Meg working on this gen and they all 3 hop on this gen while Claudette is in chase. Now, these 3 together, when 3 survivors are on one gen, it only takes 38 seconds to complete the gen. Only 38 seconds to complete a gen. Only 38. That is below half. Below half. So he gets the hit on her. She's going to run to Shaq again. She'll actually throw Shaq this time. He has to break it, but now she's running around in these 2 double pallets here, which do spawn, you know, pretty frequently. It's either tire tracks or double pallets. So they're wasting a little bit of time here because she's got double pallets. She's a lot of stuff that she can throw. She'll take a hit at one of these, and then she'll run back to the L-wall, T-wall down here. And now they're chasing, and then suddenly, 38 seconds, ding. So he finally gets the down, but all the gens are done. So he got his second hook, but all the gens are done. And this is precisely what I'm talking about. This is precisely the problem. Not even the problem, I would say, but just like the reason that the game is survivor-sided. This trapper did not make too many mistakes. He didn't make that many mistakes. He tried to stay in chase most of the match. He always had somebody on hook the entire match, right? There weren't long periods where he couldn't find anybody or didn't see anybody. He was just, you know, doing his thing. However, because the survivors knew when to split up and when to get on gens together, which isn't always a comms thing. You can use Bond and Kindred and stuff to know how to do these things without having to have comms with other people. So even if like 2 of these people are in comms or 3 of these people are in comms, this is easy. You can do this. A lot of people are like, why solo queue win? And my solo queue, I only get potatoes. Okay, your subjective experience defines objectivity. Great. Awesome. Thanks for your contribution. Anyways, it is actually this easy to win a match. This trapper made no huge mistakes. He chased smart. He kicked the pallets. He got the pallets out of the way. His chases were never more than 15, 20 seconds, but didn't matter, did it? Because they knew when to split up, so a lot of the gens had progress beforehand, but then they knew to plop on gens together when it mattered. People seem to think that, like, spreading out and doing gens is the only way to win this match, or win this game. That's just not the case. Like, that is an efficient and great way to win this game. It is almost the preferred way to win this game, I would assume, or I would say. But another way that survivors are super efficient at winning the game is getting gens started in a split and then coming back and finishing them in pairs, because like we were pointing out earlier, it halves the time when you do that. It halves the time of the gens when you do that. So that's a pretty big difference. It's a pretty big difference when the only point of the game is to do the gens. So, or the only objective for survivors is to do the gens. So it's actually really, really horrendously easy. It is horrendously easy to do that. It is cakewalk, right? Like I said, I can't emphasize this enough. They had pretty standard chases. Like, he didn't make any mistakes. And all the survivors did was kind of just, like, have good rotations when it came to saves and gens. Which, you know, like I said, if you have Kindred or Bond, you don't even need comms for that. So that's how easy it is for them to win this match. Or to win Dead by Daylight. Which is why I'm just so, like, shocked that people would be like, oh, this game's so killer-sided. I know it feels bad when you run into somebody that's running Pop, Ruin, and Die, right? But that's more like the perks being the perks. And even then, you could still win. Like, even if he was like Pop and gens, like, they could have just been more efficient and done some of these up here too. Like, it really doesn't matter. And I think this is why it's extra agitating when survivors bring stuff like Sprint Burst and Dead Hard, because then they could like stick this gen and then run and Sprint Burst away and basically be able to greet the gen for free. Or the chases out here could have been even longer with Dead Hard and stuff like that, because the survivors, I think, already have the overwhelming advantage. And let me get this straight. Let me say this straight. I'm one of those people that thinks the survivors should have the advantage. It's a 4v1 game. If the killer was like able to stomp the survivors, even though there's more of them, I don't think that makes sense. Like, it just doesn't. But they have a great advantage. I would say they have not an overwhelming advantage, but like, if you have it at the slightest level of coordination, you should be winning matches. You just should. That's just how it is. So when you pile things on, like these extra stuff that you just don't need, it's extra agitating, because it's like you're already the winning side, and the winning side by a lot. So when people run like super obnoxious like 4-man Dead Hard DS like squads, it's like, and then they run a map offering, and it's like, dude, like, you didn't even need that. Like, it wasn't even remotely needed. Like, you are able to win this match so easily, and we did this example with no perks on either side. No perks on either side, and that's how easy it was for this team to win. But they can run extra stuff too, which is just like, but yeah. Yeah, hopefully this visualization helps you understand how easy it was or how easy it is, rather, for survivors to be able to win a game, even if they just have the slightest level of coordination. And that is why the game is survivor-sided. and I would be interested to hear what you think in the comments below. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else for you, bud. So I'll see you in the next YouTube video, Twitch side or Discord side of things. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.